Good morning, my wonderful people. Welcome to the Intimacy podcast series. So, we were dealing with Punarvasu, I think previously, for what it was. Now, we are dealing with Hasta Nakshatra. Let's say the moon in Hasta Nakshatra for the woman, and moon in different other positions where she'll be well matched with. What is this whole principle of matchmaking that goes on in Vedic astrology? Just a sidebar. It's basically your innate drives, your basic operating system of how you function naturally with an individual. So, what's the advantage of knowing all this stuff? You might say, okay, so the basic advantage of all this for the new people in Vedic astrology or for those who wish to make their partnership better, improve some styles of engagement, is that you know your basic operating system, isn't it? Once you know your basic operating system, you can say, okay, I am like this. I have all this Venus, Moon, Mercury, etc. like this. And he or she has got this Moon, Venus, Mercury like this. Now what? Comes the question. So that now what is what these podcasts are about. Remember always these basic principles. Venus is the value system. Venus is your creation, your beauty. Venus is also Libra. Venus is celebration. How do you celebrate your love? People don't celebrate their love very often. Don't wait for things like wedding anniversary or birthday or this or that. Nonsense. You have got 365 days of the year. Celebrate every day of your life. What about that? Can you engage like that? Obviously you can. It's a choice. Everything is a choice. Moon, how do you engage your heart? Do you require peace in your heart when you are talking of relationship? Does it bring you peace? That's your moon. That's what we are discussing. Same principles apply to Venus and Mercury also, but let's just take the moon. This is given the most importance in Vedic astrology. Everything is about moon. That's why it's called lunar astrology. It's your subconscious, it's your emotional intelligence, what you bring to the table. So it's affecting 99% of the body, both Venus and Moon. Why? Because they are water elements. Both Venus and Moon are water elements, watery planets. So these are starting with, even if you just begin with this thing, this is the very basic route of how you start exploring your intimacy aspects. Before you get into nakshatras and before you get into anything else, just see the planetary positioning where it is in each chart. In natal and Navamsha, I would put it. I won't go beyond that divisional chart. For most practical purposes, natal and Navamsha is seen by most astrologers in India. Mercury also. Why? Because Mercury is play, Mercury is touch, Mercury is smell, fragrance. All these things are important to tune in. The creation of beauty as Venus. Celebrate your house, wherever your personal space is. Intimacy is bonding, isn't it? So how do you bond? What's the selection of clothing? Venus is clothes. What is the selection of things? It's a little bit different every single time. I know there are people, women like to dominate stuff. Women like to create demands. And that's where the first battle is lost in intimacy, if you want to call it that. Why? Intimacy is not a demand, folks. You can't demand intimacy out of things. You might have a laundry list of, I want this from my partner, I want that from my partner. Women tend to come like this sharper. Why? Because they have an innate drive in feminine bodies to select their mate. Men, get this, please. You don't do the selection of mate. Doesn't matter what laundry list you have. It's always the feminine which selects the mate. Look at nature. Just look at nature. Don't go by any astrology also even. Just look at nature and see how the birds and animals, what goes on in their mating rituals. It's always the male that dances around the female, isn't it? To court her. Courtship is male to female. And female selects the actual male for mating purposes. Same thing in human. We have the same DNA. 99% of our DNA is animal. So that instinct will always play out. But we are talking about higher consciousness as humans, isn't it? Therefore, all these things require conscious engagement. Otherwise, you'll just play out like an animal. You'll play out all these instincts for sure. 100% you will play out all these planetary instincts when it comes to your individual courtship rituals, if I call that. So the idea for all you Gen Z people, psychologists, relationship coaches, sex therapists, etc., you need to know this dynamic. How does it play out? First step is education, then we'll come to other things. Okay, now let's see the planetary positioning and how that affects the dynamics will change with every signature. If you match Hasta with Anuradha, it's different from Hasta with Swati, for example. It's very different in each and every case. That's why we have to go through this step by step. So let's begin. Hasta Nakshatra Moon, and the third position from that moon will be for the man, which is Moon in Anuradha Nakshatra. Now, Moon in Scorpio is kind of harsh. Moon and Sun in Scorpio is harsh, definitely on the people going through it. It's a sidebar. Moon in Scorpio tends to destroy relationship with mother, natal on Navamcha. Sun in Scorpio tends to do it with the father. So it's kind of tough on the people. You have my heartfelt sympathies if you have that. But never mind, let's get into this, because since we are discussing intimacy, that's a different ball game. This pairing is one of precision-empowered devotion. Hasta woman will want skill, precision, service, discernment, reliability, calm, competence, love through action. That's what she desires. The man, Anuradha man, brings it in the form of loyalty, its devotion, its depth, its endurance, its trust and testing. Emotional intensity. Scorpio is an intense sign. It's intensely internal, Scorpio. On the other side of Scorpio, Taurus is very external. Emotional intensity, transformative bonding. Scorpio tends to transform things wherever it touches, whichever planet it touches. The axis is one of 3 and 11. Therefore, effort gives fulfillment, daily usefulness and long-term gains, practical care and emotional loyalty. These are the default settings, like I said. If you don't practice this consciously, you will go to the default setting. Teamwork versus prosperity, and it's Upacha house, so it strengthens with time, this axis. This is a build and benefit axis. Intimacy compounds as work, as trust, as consistency add up through years. Okay? You're talking about a lifetime. People forget that very fast. The feminine moon for the Hasta woman bonds through competence. This is a bonding strategy, if you want to call it that. Routines and problem solving. This is useful tips for relationship counselors. It's there. That's why it is there on my LinkedIn newsletter. Loves by fixing, organizing and improving. She's constantly on that. Virgo woman in Hasta is extremely skilled with hands, needs appreciation for effort. She's taking all the effort. She wants that feedback. She feels safe when life is orderly and dependable. Keywords here being service, trust, steadiness, and practical affection. Virgo, right? Hasta. So she wants everything grounded. Masculine moon in this case being in Scorpio. Bonds through loyalty, depth, and exclusivity. Scorpio people want everything to themselves only. So one man, woman, man kind of situation. Loves by commitment, protection, and emotional presence. Needs trust and sincerity. That's what he needs. Being in Anuradha man. Feels secure when devotion is reciprocated. Keywords here being devotion, endurance, emotional gravity, and faithfulness. One of the most loyal nakshatras you can find is Moon in Anuradha. This is very loyal, or even ascendant in Anuradha. These people are very loyal. The sexual and intimacy dynamics follows as a tone which is controlled intensity, slow burn, slow ignition, and deepening bond. Desire grows with trust and reliability. Touch is intentional, focused, and assured. Rhythm improves through consistency and refinement. Less novelty, more depth and staying power. So this is more grounded, this relationship. The Hasta woman wants competence, patient, and feeling valued. The Anuradha man wants trust, exclusivity, and emotional sincerity. In this particular case, the man is, I want only this one woman. I'm not interested in flirting around, of course. If Rahu sits here, it's another ball game. We shall see the shadow aspects later on. I want to first finish the nakshatras. Best expression here being, best possible outcome being measured build, mutual dependability. We are in this together kind of intimacy. Risk here becomes criticism versus sensitivity. Hasta is very critical when it doesn't get things its way. And Anuradha can get overtly sensitive, very open boundaries. Surrender versus control. Big one for relationships, isn't it? Over duty replacing romance. It's always about duty, duty, and duty. Where's the play gone? Where's Mercury gone? Trust creates strain. Okay? Precision becomes policing, or intensity turns into possessiveness. Anuradha can become extremely possessive. These are the kind of people, the guy in this case, can become very jealous if she is talking to her male friends. She might just be talking to a male friend. Like, why are you talking to that man? You see? Scorpio can become like that. This is quite powerful, teamwork driven, loyalty rich, and financially and emotionally rewarding over a period of time. So that was this relationship gives us. Let us see what happens if we move the man. Where's the guy? Okay. If you move the man now to Revati, which is the 7th positioning from Hasta, right opposite as you can see. Right opposite to 6 is 12. This is another good pairing. There's nothing in 4th because there's no Dev Gana there. Remember, we are matching Ganas first as a priority. So what happens in the 1-7? Virgo woman in Hasta and Revati Moon in Pisces man. This is precision meeting compassion. Kind of a strange mix, you might say. Hasta, of course, will bring all the Hasta aspects: discernment, service, reliability, practical care, and boundaries. Love shown through action. Virgo is action-oriented sign. Revati, on the other hand, provides more dissolution, sort of empathy, devotion, emotional refuge. Pisces is a refuge sign. It's surrender, it's guidance, soulful presence with completion. So this 1-7 axis is powerful. It is very magnetic. Hasta with Revati. Self-definition and partner completion. Method to meaning kind of situation. Order versus surrender. Doing versus being. Clarity versus compassion. This is a classic spouse-access bond. Attraction arises from complementarity, not similarity. You have to learn this, isn't it? You can't keep asking for similar stuff. They are not anything like you. The feminine moon bonds through usefulness, consistency, and improvement here. Expresses love via organizing, fixing, and serving. Needs appreciation and clear roles. Say, Virgo wants clear stuff to do. It's a house of daily routines. Don't tell me airy-fairy stuff. That's Hasta. Feels secure when relationship has structure and mutual accountability. So it wants competence, it wants boundaries, it wants practical affection, it wants steadiness. Masculine moon bonds through empathy, presence, and emotional attunement. He's something else. Hasta woman. He expresses love via support, forgiveness, and gentle guidance, which is so complementary. This is 1-7, so it's opposite. It's mirror effect. Needs trust and emotional openness. Feels chosen when he's accepted without being fixed. Keywords here being compassion, devotion, emotional sanctuary, and surrender. Okay? Those are the keywords. You should remember the keywords. The sexual intimacy and dynamics for this particular combination becomes one of tender approach, healing, and trust-led. There has to be a trust factor here. Desire grows with emotional safety and reassurance. Touch is gentle, attentive, and soulful. Rhythm improves through listening and patience. Less urgency, more deep emotional bonding kind of thing. Hasta woman wants calm, confidence, reliability, and feeling valued for the effort taken in whatever. In this case, Hasta woman, so she might be doing up the whole house, making it neat, clean, because they are very handsy people, Hasta Nakshatra. She needs appreciation for that. If she's doing your laundry, if she's doing your bed, if she's cleaning up all the house and making it nicely perfumed, Mr. Revati man, you need to appreciate her for that. That's her arousal. For the woman with Revati man, it should be more about tenderness, acceptance, and emotional availability. Are you available emotionally? Everything is about duty. That's what he asks. Slow attunement, mutual care, you are safe with me type of intimacy works here. The risk factors being overgiving versus boundary erosion, fixing versus rescuing, practicality versus escapism. See how it changes. It's always amazes me, this thing. The signatures of Moon or Venus or Mercury, when they meet the opposite nakshatras, it becomes quite different. Emotional dependence. Service replaces desire or compassion avoids responsibility. See the dynamic that is playing out. Now let's go into I think it's the last one we're saying. Anyway, I'll come back to this. Okay, so now the next match is her moon in Hasta versus him in Mrigashira in the 10th place. So it's a 10-4 dynamic playing out. Like I said, we have got all kinds of dynamics in this one. So what happens here? Hasta woman versus Mrigashira man, 10-4 axis. So let's jump into the 10-4 axis. What does it bring? Outer direction versus inner stability. If you don't know Mrigashira, go to the Mrigashira one. Mind in motion versus emotional grounding. Ideas versus implementation. Exploration versus home base. Home base is her typically. Him is going into ideas factor because he's Mrigashira. Learning versus living. This is a function to feeling axis and deepens with curiosity organized into daily life. So daily life will become something about not just work at home front, because we are talking of intimacy. It becomes more about how you can be curiously reinventing your relationship. It's the best I can come up with. The feminine moon bonds through usefulness, consistency, improvement, expresses love by organizing, fixing, refining. We saw that already. The masculine moon in this case changes, bonds through conversation, novelty, and shared learning, expresses love via ideas, humor, and curiosity, needs freedom to explore. Mrigashira will need freedom to explore without judgment. Again, judgment is generally a killer of intimacy. Simple. Exploration, dialogue, adaptability, and mental stimulation. What are the sexual dynamics? Mental first, refined and responsive. Desire builds through conversation and trust. Touch guided by attentiveness and feedback. Did you like such and such a kind of hug? What is your preference in touching, hugging, and kissing? Rarely partners ask this to one another. Rhythm improves with routine and variation. Less raw intensity, more skillful intensity. See how the signature changed. Arousal for Hasta woman here becomes competence, patience, and feeling valued. That's definitely there. Mrigashira man wants curiosity. He wants engagement. He wants playful dialogue. That will keep this relationship alive. Best for those who value mental engagement, practical care, calm, competent intimacy. So they are even evaluating intimacy as something competent. You see, very head-oriented, Mrigashira. Not ideal for those seeking high drama, impulsive passion, or emotional chaos. That's not preferred in any case, I would say, isn't it? Now let's jump into Punarvasu Nakshatra. We'll take Punarvasu in Gemini because the dominant aspect of Punarvasu plays out in Gemini, the first three padas. The last pada is in Cancer. So 10-4 axis once again, but here in this it plays out dynamic is different. Between Mrigashira and Punarvasu, it's different. Outer direction versus inner stability, problem solving versus emotional renewal. Punarvasu has a life lesson of repeating mistakes and learning from them and coming out stronger. So that plays out here. Method versus reframing, responsibilities versus reassurance, life management versus emotional home. This is a repair and rebuild axis. If you're the Punarvasu man or woman, you better be sure that you're going to reinvent your relationship with that person, since we are talking of intimacy again and again. They will go through transformations. The theme of the nakshatra. Jumping directly into his masculine moon, Punarvasu man bonds through conversation, reassurance, and emotional resets. It will keep happening. expresses love via optimism, humor, and reframing. You got to keep telling this Punarvasu person, man or woman, in this case, man, to reassure them again and again through life. They will require a reset. They will require to reframe their issues of life again and again. Needs emotional permission to start again. Feels safe when mistakes aren't punished. You should not be judging a Punarvasu Moon because they are going through some other stuff other than you. Keywords being here forgiveness, hope, and verbal intimacy and adaptability. The sexual intimacy and dynamics in this case plays out as desire built through conversation and trust. Touch is guided by attentiveness and responsiveness. Rhythm improves with predictability and emotional warmth. There has to be warmth. Punarvasu is very dry in Gemini. Gemini is a dry sign. All Capricorn, Mercury signs, Virgo, Gemini, or Saturnian signs, Aquarius and Capricorn, these are dry signs. They don't have any Venus-like quality to them. Punarvasu man needs reassurance, verbal warmth, and emotional acceptance. Allow them to make their goof ups. Punarvasu moons will goof up things again and again, maybe sometimes multiple times, but they will learn from it. They will come out of it. And you need to give them that space. Then it will work properly. This can fail if precision becomes a point of judgment. Look, Hasta is very precise. You can't get very precise other than Hasta in the entire 27 Nakshatras. It stands for the hand skills. It's a Virgo, detail oriented. So Hasta, when it gets frustrated, it tends to pick faults with the other one. Let it be at work, let it be at partnership. It can become very cynical and critical, Hasta. That's the downside. So you can't judge Punarvasu for goofing up all kinds of mistakes again and again, saying things again and again. See how the dynamic plays out? This is a healing stability through reassurance 10-4 pairing, strong for long-term bonding when effort is appreciated, optimism is grounded. You have to go that direction, otherwise this relationship does not stand a chance. Okay? Be careful about how you handle such things. Last one, let's go to Pushya. Let's take the man to the 11-3 dynamic, Pushya versus Hasta. So let's see how that plays out. We'll do that as a last piece here today. We'll ignore the parts of the woman since we have already seen Hasta. She'll bring the same signature. The 11-3 axis is important here. Fulfillment versus effort, results versus daily work, emotional security versus practical action. These are signatures. Supportive friendship tone. 11-3-3-11 is always about friendship turning into love, and it grows with time. They are Upacha places. Masculine moon in this case being Pushya, he bonds through care, reassurance, emotional continuity, expresses love by holding, protecting, and sustaining. It's a Cancer sign. Cancer to Virgo is a good dynamic, I would suggest. Hasta to Pushya, because one is providing the emotional grounding. Okay, the dynamic of access will play out, but I'm saying in general, it will be a good pair. Expresses love by holding, protecting, and sustaining. Cancer is there to hold. Okay, Cancer is your foundation, 4th house. So when Pushya is there, Pushya moons are really good in partnerships, but they tend to neglect it for the sake of education, studying. It's a whole story around it. You can check it out. Expresses love by holding, protecting, sustaining. Needs loyalty and patience. Feels secure when future feels stable and promised. Sexual intimacy and dynamics will become desire grows with safety and consistency. Touch communicates with care and reassurance. There has to be a lot of that for Cancer. Reassurance. Rhythm improves through routine and responsiveness, less volatility and more deepening warmth. For the Pushya man, thus the woman needs to provide emotional presence, patience, and dependable closeness. Cancer needs a lot of reassurance to function properly. Otherwise, it goes into that moodiness zone. Zones out. Risk words here being over responsibility. Duty replaced by romance. Don't do this. Look, duty is duty. Everything is duty in this world. Everything is karma, blah, blah, blah. What about your sensitivities? You're a human being, not a machine. Criticism versus sensitivity. Emotional heaviness if appreciation fades. This is a good last. Teamwork, friendship tone kind of intimacy. Again, just to wrap this up, no going to 6th, 8th, and 12th houses. Please, even if there is Devgana there, don't go there. There's no match in Ashwini for Hasta. It will become a dynamic of 6 8. Please keep these basic rules in mind. If you don't know, you can listen to that in the other one. I'll see you in the next. Take care. Be safe.